What's going on, everybody? Brett here, and we are back with my YouTube channel Good Talk Gaming, playing some Total War Warhammer 2. This was on the ladder. This is a quick battle I picked up. Going to be playing as the Wood Elves versus the High Elves. I'm going to be playing as the angry ghosts of Christmas trees past, and we're going to be going up against Teclis. Very competitive High Elf build here, and our player was pretty, our opponent I should say, was pretty good. Let's go ahead and put it in slow-mo. So many things I want to kind of talk about this game. Before we even jump into anything, check out my Vanguard deployed Waystalker over here. In the bushes, I had him off of fire at will to make sure that he didn't reveal himself to anything like this. But unfortunately, the Illyrian Reavers were also Vanguard deployed. And now it's just a bit of a staring contest. I think I realized much faster than our opponent did that this was currently happening. And in a bit, I'm going to start firing. And I'm going to send over my Hawk Riders to help out my Waystalker. So Hawk Riders are a pick you don't get to see very often. I was having a bit of fun with this build. I don't think they're competitive against the High Elves at all. They die to the lowest tier unit in their arsenal, the Archers, and they're also horrible pin cushion targets for the EU Claw Bolt Throwers, which I'm going to try and avoid at all costs. You can't really see their range now, but I could see it and I was trying to stay out of it. But I'm going to send them over here. The thing about the Hawk Riders is they have very lackluster range damage. It says here their missile damage is 43, which is in theory great, but they fire super slow, and there's not a ton of unit models. But what they are very good at doing is engaging in melee with that 45 weapon strength that is heavy armor piercing, and they're going to be able to drive off these Illyrian Reavers quite easily, and that's what they're going to do. Okay guys, my front line is a nice little mix of Eternal Guards with shields. Very sturdy infantry, silver shields, going to be great against the High Elves. And just some Dryads mixed in, honestly for flavor. I would just go with more Eternal Guards with shields while I was trying to be competitive. But when you bring the Big Daddy himself, he is kind of lit up like a Christmas tree. When you have all these details and stuff turned on, he's actually a pretty beautiful model with the amber sword. But when you have Durthu, you got to bring trees. So I did. I brought 2 groups of Treekins, as well as a Branch Wraith, completely stripped down. He's just here for healing and moral support. And out on the flanks here, we have some Eternal Guards without shields, as well as in the back. And their job is just to guard me against cavalry, of which my opponent has a few. Aside from the Illyrian Reavers, they also are rocking some Dragon Princes, which we will get into soon. But these guys are super cheap, and they do exactly what you want them to do. They're your anti-large component. And also we have 2 units of Glade Guards to counter skirmish, 170 range. They're not going to be as effective against the light armored variant of the Archers, which our opponent has brought. They also are all triple chevroned, so they're going to be pretty durable in a kind of standing and fighting battle against our Glade Guard. We just need to make sure that we're focusing if they're not, and trying to take them down that way. Like I said, our opponent's build super competitive, and I kind of did the only thing I could do, which was to kind of walk up the pipe and meet my opponent head on with his artillery superiority. It's going to be very difficult for us to sit back and have any kind of meaningful skirmish battle. He has the range superiority in just about every regard, as well as having Teclis, who has several spells which can kind of catch us out. He has the Net of Amnitok to lock us down. He has the Fiery Convocation, his bound Phoenix spell, which goes down straight lines and can do a lot of damage versus non-flame resistant targets. Oh, here we go. That's an Arrow of Kurnos coming off from our Waystalker. I just felt like I needed to do something to get some value back. I'm dodging a lot of these attacks. See how that does. So models start dying. 4 models dead. 6 models dead. And that's some decent HP damage. You get 3 of those on a Waystalker. So that felt pretty good. Waystalkers are a type of unit that I always love to bring a one of. And like I said, you just put them off to the side like I tried to do, and let them shoot in over the course of a long battle. They'll generate a ton of value. And they're protecting their artillery very well with these Dragon Princes, something that I'm going to encounter very soon as I attempt to slow the onslaught of these artillery pieces as I attempt to bring in my main force to engage with theirs. Their front line is entirely made up of spearmen. Great option, very cheap, very durable. The Scions of Mathlon providing that 12% Aura of Protection. It's a damage resistant bonus. As long as he keeps his Winds of Magic above 50%, the units will receive that AoE damage resistant buff. They also have in the back line the Phoenix Guard, which are going to be a bit of a terror for us to deal with. Durthu, my Treekin, they're all very poor choices going up against the Phoenix Guard. They have ward save of 12% right now thanks to the Scions, but they have a static 30% physical resistance as well as causing fear. They also benefit from Martial Mastery, which is a better version of Martial Prowess, plus 8 melee attack, plus 12 melee defense as long as they're above 50% HP, which is not hard for them to do, considering that Teclis also has Regrowth as one of his spells. And then just out on the flanks, kind of a random group of White Lions. Nice kind of Swiss Army knife unit. They're good at fighting against Eternal Guard. They're good at fighting against Dryads. They have armor piercing. They do have protection from ranged in the form of this 30% missile resistance from their Lion Cloak. So it's not just for fashion. It's also very good protection against ranged units. And that's it, guys. Those are all the units on the field. Let's go ahead and speed this up. So what I'm doing is, you see here, I've got my units in my hot groups. I'm moving them forward. And I want to make sure I'm engaging correctly. The Dragon Princes are going off to this flank. And we're going to attempt to, while he has his focus on our Eternal Guards with shields, we're going to try and go up and around here with the Hawk Riders. We know the Illyrian Reavers are here. We know he has lots of responses to this. But I feel like if I don't at least temporarily shut down these Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers, our frontline engagement is going to go poorly. I have a lot invested into Durthu, whose abilities I didn't really go over. But I have Flock of Doom, basically, as his one spell to augment my Earthblood. And I also have the Sword of Date. Extremely powerful weapon. All you need to do is get a lot of weaker units blobbed up around him, and he will absolutely melt them with this ability. It's got a pretty big AoE. And Durthu also has 20% physical resistance in addition to his huge health. So I'm finally in range with my skirmishers, and I'm going to focus. I cannot afford to spread my DPS. He has me outnumbered greatly. Our Hawk Riders are going to get in, and they're going to get Net of Amnatok down, which sucks because now the archers are turning and firing on them. But when they're firing on them, they're not firing on my front line, which is going to let them get into the front lines quite nicely. And a huge shot there from the Waystalker, up to 36 kills now. We temporarily shut down the artillery. Our opponent's going to be very good at getting his artillery crews back online. The Illyrian Reavers helped to kind of absorb some of that charge. They did decent damage, and I'm going to be able to save some of them, but unfortunately not all of them are going to be able to be brought back from the brink. One of them is pretty much full health, and we're going to use them to rear charge the Illyrian Reavers, which is great for them. Flock of Doom going off on our front line. Fiery Convocation, going to roast our Dryads, no doubt. And I'm using these Eternal Guard here as a bit of a flank denial to these Dragon Princes. They're a bit slow and a bit out of position, but they'll do their job. That Fiery Convocation did pretty nice work. Durthu's Terror no doubt caused these Spearmen to run, but right now I'm trying to get him into this juicy pocket where I can use an upgraded Flock of Doom and a Sword of Date. So let's see if that ends up paying off for me. Look at the health of all of these units. He's clumping, he's bringing in the Phoenix Guard, he's bringing in the White Lions. It's exactly what I want him to do. The Treemen are in here, the Treekin rather, and they're soaking a lot of this damage for Durthu. Branch Wraith is kind of being held back. And there we go. Sword of Date, minus 30 armor. The damage going off right now is ridiculous, and the kills on Durthu are just racking up. And I think that was an upgraded Flock of Doom going off. Check out the kills. The numbers are just going up and up and up. I've rallied some of my Hawk Riders. I used them to chase off a unit, and the Waystalker's just down here still shooting into the sides of these archers. I finally got that group of Eternal Guard up into that little gap there into those archers, and we're shutting them down. The Branch Wraith, I think I'm going to be pushing him back into the Spearmen. My Glade Guard were rallied and hopefully going to get back into the fight in just a moment. My Spearmen, these very cheap Eternal Guard, are currently screening out these Dragon Princes, which feels great. And I'm going to be mobilizing my Treekin to get back. Unfortunately, the Treekin don't have great targets because everything they're fighting has anti-large bonuses, which feels pretty bad. But an Earthblood going down here, catching Durthu, catching these Eternal Guard, and yeah, another Flock of Doom, unfortunately, upgraded from Teclis. And we're going to make these, attacks every time we can. We have to knock them off their artillery. We've managed to do a ton of damage to the archers, and another beautiful shot there from the Waystalker. I think that was my last arrow of Kuranos. 68 kills, having taken no damage. That feels pretty good. And the anti-infantry fire continues on these Eagle Claw bolt throwers. And the Hawk Riders are sitting up here. I'm trying to find great targets for them. I'm mostly engaging them in melee. You can see they still have almost all of their ammunition. We're using them as essentially mobile monstrous cavalry. And we're going to come over here and shut down these archers before they're able to become much more of a problem. But yeah, Durthu surrounded by Phoenix Guard. 147 kills on him. 150. Just got 3 more kills in that like one swing. Gotta love it. But yeah, this is not who he wants to be fighting. He routs the White Lions, but the Phoenix Guard are made to take on units like him. The Eternal Guard are here. They're helping. Doing some damage to Teclis, which feels great. But Teclis is a lord. He's not a pushover. And the DPS of the Eternal Guard is not super high. Unfortunately now, our opponent has kind of wised up to the vulnerability of Durthu, and he switched his artillery over to single target anti-large, and that's going to be absolutely dumpstering Durthu. I'm trying to get my Waystalker in here into melee to perhaps shut them down. I'm going to be trying to heal Durthu at the last second if it's at all possible. Ooh, that fiery convocation roasts his own spearmen. That's unfortunate. Mine rout at like the exact right moment. These Dragon Princes, 27 kills, but they're still having their movements mirrored. They've been able to shut down my Glade Guard, but there's very high leadership on the Wood Elves, so they should be able to get back into the fight at some point. Durthu's routing off the battlefield with about 1,000 HP. My Waystalker's in the fight now in melee. He honestly can do very well against spearmen and artillery crews. Teclis is not going to just let me go, unfortunately. But there we go. I get an Earthblood on him, trying to bring him back. And we're going to get him up over 1,000, but we just can't quite shut down these Eagle Claw bolt throwers. My Branch Wraith ended up chasing a unit off the battlefield, and I've got him rallying now. Kind of lucky he was over there because he was able to reach Durthu with the heal. And we're using our Hawk Riders to try and engage Teclis. I felt like he was very vulnerable. The Hawk Riders pack quite a punch with their weapon strength. And you'll see there, they're ticking down his HP. He's got him down to 800, but they're having trouble hitting his model right now as he runs around. But we need to shut down these artillery, otherwise they're going to shoot Durthu point blank in the face and rout him again. The DPS on Durthu is just ridiculous, but there comes a rear charge from the Dragon Princes. Will he get a swing off? He does. There goes one Dragon Prince. Meanwhile, the rest of the battlefield is a lot of me, Microwing, trying to clean up these units, take them off the field if I can, and then bring all of my strongest forces to bear against the remaining High Elves. Yeah, the Dragon Princes are such a powerful force at this late stage in the game with their high health. And there's not much we can do about it. We're still harassing Teclis down to 700 HP. Durthu, of course, goes down. Phoenix Guard, Dragon Princes, and Teclis still on the field. And all we have is a ragtag group. We have Treekin, some Eternal Guard, still trying to fight. We have our bastion of leadership right now, honestly, is just this Branch Wraith. Our Waystalker did just about all the work you can expect from a Waystalker. 90 kills. I mean, that's paying his dues. He's a very cheap unit when you strip them down to just the Arrow of Kuranos. Branch Wraith, 22 kills. You know, not the worst. He does cause fear, so he can end up routing a lot of these lower tier units, and he's saving up his Winds of Magic to try and get us more heals. Glade Guard coming back. They're going to get some shots on these chasing Dragon Princes. Probably won't get any kills. Their armor-piercing values are quite weak, and they actually shatter off the field, which feels pretty bad, considering that there was nothing near them. But we still do have our Hawk Riders, a group of 5. Anything else? I don't think so. That's about it. The Phoenix Guard fighting against the Eternal Guard. There's a lot of guarding going on. But the Phoenix Guard are just such vastly superior units. But they are very low in HP, so their models are dying as they stand here fighting. And the Eternal Guard, still up to 43 unit models, are holding quite nicely. Yeah, the Waystalker rallies, but with no ammunition, he's pretty much a non-entity in this battle, unfortunately. We're going to get Earthblood off. We missed the Treekin, unfortunately. I was pretty upset about that. But the fear on the Branch Wraith is going to cause these 3 units to rout. And we're going to try and chase them off, as well as we're chasing off Teclis with 5 Hawk Riders, which feels amazing if we can get those Spearmen off as well. So we've got him bunched up near the edge of the map, and we're trying to take him out. The Dragon Princes come in at the last second and are able to stop my Eternal Guard from routing these Phoenix Guard with a nice rear charge. 35 of them, pretty healthy. It's going to be difficult to take out. We just have to make sure we're constantly rallying what little forces we have left. 14 Eternal Guard about to go off the field there. 3 Treekin about to leave. Yeah, this is really like all we have left. Yeah, I mean, that's it. We're using them as effectively as we can. We have these 5 Hawk Riders who have a lot of ammunition, but only 5 of them. I mean, that's not going to do much. He sends his Dragon Princes in the direction of our Waystalker. That routes them. Not surprised. And if he wants, he can use his mobility right now to go ahead and clean up the rest of the battlefield. Although it's very unlikely that any of my stuff is going to come back. I just need to make sure I keep my Treekin, I keep my Branch Wraith high and tight. Now, it's at this point, I've played on the ladder a lot, guys. I'm not a noob to Total War. I'm not a noob to Total War Warhammer 2. I know the score. The people that play on this, especially in like New Year's times, they're probably dedicated to the game, right? And if you're dedicated to the game, that means you don't like to lose. And if you don't like to lose, Total War Warhammer 2 is a pretty easy game to not lose in, if you're just willing to scumbag it a little bit. So I had a pretty strong feeling that my opponent was gonna do that around this point. So nothing quite yet giving it away, just my own intuition. I let my opponent know ahead of time. I was like, hey man, I'm recording a video, I appreciate it, you know. Do your best, you know, win or lose, it's all good. And wasn't really responding to me. That's fine, you know, we don't got to talk or anything. But it's at around this point that I started to feel like he was considering abusing the speed of his Dragon Princes to use in an attempt to draw kite, to not lose. And I let him know, I was like, hey man, you know, this has been a great battle, let's not ruin it by draw kiting. And it's about this time that I let him know. I'm still thinking strategy, you know, I'm like, hey, if I can rout off these Phoenix Guard with my Hawk Riders, that'll tip the balance bar in my favor. But something I didn't consider is that the Phoenix Guard cause fear, and they break off my Hawk Riders right off the battlefield, and they themselves end up routing. If I had just kept them in range and shot at the Phoenix Guard, they would have went off the battlefield, without a doubt. And I pulled my Treekin and my Branch Wraith into the forest, because they are themselves forest units. And we can see here, I think they get a buff from fighting in the forest. It's hard to recall exactly what it is. But at the very least, the Dragon Princes, as a large target, get a debuff from fighting in the forest. So if we get a bonus from fighting there and they get a debuff, then this is where I want to make my final stand. With my 12 units of Treekin, my Branch Wraith, and I have a little bit of Winds of Magic. I'm regenerating enough right now to try and save up for an Earthblood. I don't have a ton, but I mean 12 Phoenix Guard pinning me in place so that the Dragon Princes can get a charge in. I mean, that's a pretty nice combination. So here we go. I'm like, all right, you know, I'm thinking to myself, I was kind of, this was a gentlemanly game. You know, he had a very competitive build, had lots of ranged elements. I came out into the field, I met him, I didn't play, you know, 8 Glade Riders with Hagbane tips or anything ridiculous. You know, I played a very fun build, and I'm like, okay, do the gentlemanly thing, please, and just come and engage me. It's obviously not in his favor to take this engagement in the forest, and I'm sure as an experienced player he probably knows that. The Dragon Princes will be at a disadvantage, and will be at an advantage. So I wasn't willing to sit here forever, but I was going to sit here for a minute. And when I saw him walking his units, now, in older Total Wars, walking your units preserves their fatigue, right? But in this one, it doesn't do as much to run as it used to. Also, I mean, they're already very tired. My units are very tired as well. The Phoenix Guard are exhausted and shaken. And if we can get a decent charge into them when they're not braced, we should be able to knock them off the battlefield. They still look cool, even when they're like beaten and bloody. Both of our units cause fear, which doesn't really bother these guys because they also cause fear, which means they are immune to fear. What kind of charge bonus do Treekin have? Only 14. I feel like they could have a better charge bonus. I mean, look at this. Look at that. Charging towards you. Unbelievable. And they managed to kill 3 of them pretty much instantly. And that's going to shatter off the Phoenix Guard. No more Phoenix Guard. The Branch Wraith gets in there. And there they go. And here come the Dragon Princes. Heroes of their people. The last unit on the battlefield for the High Elves. And we're going to get back into the forest. It's hard to tell sometimes what exactly constitutes, you know, a forest in Total Warhammer 2. Because sometimes you think you're in the woods, but you're actually not. Your units that you think should be able to hide can't hide. And the Treekin are beating down the Dragon Princes. They get caught on their huge unit models. But they're going to cycle charge. Very smart from the opponent. He loses a few units on the attempt, but we're down 1 Treekin. We started with 12, and now we're at 11. The Treekin, this is a bit of a mistake for me, actually. I noticed at the last second, they actually have charge defense against large. So if I just kept them still, we would be negating the charge damage of the Dragon Princes. But I kind of want to get my own charge off. I've nearly got my Earth Blood. I'm so close. It's pretty sad because I'm losing unit models. I've already lost 2. We've killed 5 of the Dragon Princes since this engagement has started. See there, a riderless horse going off into the distance. And if these were the Fireborn, they'd be tearing into us right now because those guys have anti-large. And I think they do fire damage as well. But these are very good at dealing with infantry, not so much at dealing with the large Treekin. So we're going to try and get back into the woods, set ourselves up for the next charge. And I was trying to move deeper into the woods to get, you know, that debuff on the Dragon Princes, but I was also trying not to continuously micro because I wanted to see if I could get that charge defense. And I think I got it there, and there goes the Earth Blood. And that's what's going to save me. We managed to get it before we lose any extra unit models. I mean, how often do you get to see this battle? Treekin versus Dragon Princes. That was a super fun game, and I'm glad ultimately that my opponent did not go to the draw kite, because what ended up happening, and I'm gonna put him on blast just a little bit, he ducked out at the exact last second necessary. He ducked out to not get a loss. I got like the warning or whatever saying that one of the players ducked out to avoid a loss at the end, so it's pretty legit, pretty official. I thought he hadn't because I was able to like save my game, but then like the game exited and, you know, I had to restart. I go back in, it's like, hey, one of the players ducked out of the match, and I was like, well. So he was kind enough not to ruin the video and draw kite me, but competitive enough, I guess, to not want to lose. Guys, I would not want to be number 1 on a ladder. Any ladder in any game for any reason if it meant that I had to kind of like cheat to get there. So there are people, no doubt, who play Total War Warhammer 2 competitively the right way, and it's not fair that there are people that can you know, bypass the skill and time it takes to get to the top by, you know, taking advantage of honestly just poor planning on CA's part when it comes to the potential competitive nature of this game. There's lots of changes they could make. I talk about them in some of my older videos, so I'm not going to belabor that too much, because ultimately this was a great game and I had a lot of fun. A more competitive build, I probably would have cut one of these Hawk Riders. They're 900 gold. I mean, for that much I could have gotten 2 more Eternal Guard, or, you know, whatever. Something different. I could have gone wider, and I think they would have had a lot more trouble dealing with my build had I done so. But Durthu with 162 kills, that Sword of Death plus upgraded Flock of Doom combo is absolutely brutal, and he gave me the absolute perfect target to do it on. So thank you, Jalkus, for the good play. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Once again, my name is Brett. My channel is Good Talk Gaming. I hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed playing it. And please consider subscribing if you haven't already. I'm a new channel, and I appreciate every single subscription that I get. If you want to find me on Steam, my name is Good Talk Gaming. Go ahead and add me. And if you want to send me replays, just add me on Steam. I'll message you and let you know like an email that you can send them to, and I will cast them on the channel. So alright guys, without any further ado, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.